My name is J.D. Little. I teach here at Cameron. This is my 5th year teaching at Cameron University. I teach classes in music theory and ear training, and also teach all the woodwind. So I teach flute, clarinet, saxophone here at Cameron, and also direct the jazz ensembles, which would be the Cameron University Jazz Ensemble, and then also the Lawton Jazz Orchestra as well. And we meet, I see the Cameron Jazz Orchestra every week, and the Lawton Jazz Orchestra just a few times a week before each concert. Most of the group is comprised of music educators around town, band directors, elementary music teachers, something like that, and also members of the 77th Army Band. And so I think it was just a group so these people could get together, play some music together, and share a mutual love of jazz music together. I lead it, I pick the music, and I play lead alto saxophone in the group. And my role was just, it was kind of a built into the position here. Once I found out that I was going to be doing the jazz ensembles, connecting the jazz ensembles, and getting the concert ready, it was, I don't know, it's been a while, I guess, where it's the student group plus the Lawton Jazz Orchestra. And so it's kind of a built-in role, so that's how I met everyone. So we have 2 concerts each academic year, one in the fall, one in the spring. The one in the fall is what's called the Country Jazz Fusion Concert, where we combine country music and jazz. So that's a big draw for this part of, for this region, for this part of the country, because that style of music is so big. Always a big success. We bring in people from down in Texas, mostly some Western swing people from down there. In the spring, we do the Jazz Festival, which is where we bring in big names in the jazz community to come to Lawton to perform with the various groups, do master classes, do clinics, and just talk about their general life as a jazz musician. One thing that's really good is that I often will have students fill in the seats if someone needs to if they can't make a performance. And so that's an educational experience for the students as well. Band directors play in the group, so their students will come and watch and see, oh, this is what a professional jazz ensemble sounds like, that kind of thing. So very beneficial, I feel. Jazz is a music from many parts of the world. It started out essentially as being influenced by African music. A lot of this what's called call and response, where one person says something, the group says it back, and that evolved into parts of jazz as well. It's Latin, it's South American, it's all over the world, and it's such an influential music. And then that all basically started around turn of the century in New Orleans, and because there's so much happening musically down in New Orleans, and then that spread throughout the country, and now we have jazz happening all over the world, really. But in the United States, it's happening in universities and then also major metropolitan areas, and also in Southwest Oklahoma. The biggest thing is to help the community realize that there is this kind of music out there. I often hear, oh, I didn't know this even existed, or I didn't know that these instruments got together and formed this bigger ensemble. And this music goes back, 100 years. The big band decade was 1935 to 1945. That was the time when it was huge, and it's just been developing ever since. And so one thing that I think it's good that people can hear this music. It's always very exciting. We're all mostly acoustic instruments, meaning we don't plug in, we don't have amplification, except for sometimes keyboard and sometimes bass. Improvisation is a huge factor in jazz. When it first kind of started out, it was maybe the performers didn't know maybe what note they were even playing, but that this sound came out when you push this finger down. So it was it's an aural tradition. Now it's developed where you will have a jazz ensemble, we call them charts, but the piece of music, and much of it's written out. And then there'll be a section for solos, and that can go to, it's depending on who wrote the piece. If they want tenor or saxophone to do a solo, or trumpet or piano, it'll be written in tenor solo. And so that person will then improvise, meaning they see a set of chord changes, and then they play their melodies over top of that. Now, improvisation is composing right on the spot. However, there are many things that you work out outside of that you just plug in over top certain things. So yes, it is improvisation, but it's also putting in certain things in certain places to make this spontaneous composition. And we also try to perform as much as we can in and around Lawton or Southwest Oklahoma or anything like that. We play at the International Festival, the Arts for All Festival, and anywhere we can try to get out and perform. Hopefully now that things are starting to come back after COVID has ended, well, not ended, but now that things are starting to be, open up a little bit more, we'll hopefully find some more places to play. We had a great time playing there the last time that we were at the International Festival. It's such a fun weekend, and you get to experience not only the great music and culture, but also the food, which I'm also a big fan of. And we loved playing there when we did it last time when it was in person and live. And we played about an hour. We played underneath the tent, and the whole time we were playing, more and more people kept filling in the audience, and we had a great time. So the crowd was great, very receptive. The longer we played about an hour, I'd say. And the longer that we played, more and more people kept we were under a tent, and so more people kept joining us under the tent. So I hope so. I hope we'll be back there when it's back again.